compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the Municipal Center, and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Notice of this meeting via the December 4, 2020 Sunshine Notice has been sent to the Record, Suburbanite, Northern Valley Press, and has been posted on the bulletin board and borough website. Okay, first thing is a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Dayton. Councilmember Dayton. Councilmember Grossman.
Here.
Councilmember Menon.
Here.
Councilmember Michaels.
Present.
Councilmember O'Connor.
Here.
Councilmember Park.
Here.
Mayor Zinna.
Here. Okay. Wendy, should I ask for that motion now regarding the DPW director's request? Wendy?
Sorry, I didn't unmute. Yes, please do.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to ask one of the council members to please make a motion to authorize the DPW director to hire a foreman and a driver laborer, please. A sewer foreman and a driver laborer, please.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
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 Do we have to poll, or can I just ask for a voice vote?
It's a motion. You can just.
Have it all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Wendy, are there any revisions to the agenda?
For a closed session at the end to discuss some items that haven't been discussed in the earlier closed session.
Okay, anything else? Okay.
I don't believe revisions to the agenda. We'll get to potential revision in the ordinance when we get to it.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Excuse me? All right, so now we're in the public comment section. Time, audience members wishing to speak will have a 3-minute time limit to address the governing body. Large groups are asked to have a spokesperson represent them. And please, if you would like to speak, state your name and your address for the record. And if you're not speaking, please go on mute. We have a lot of background noise tonight. We appreciate that. Thank you. Lizette or Omar, do you see anyone who would like to speak from the public?
I do not see one.
No one wants to speak? Okay.
Hello?
Yes. Hello.
Hi. Hi, it's Christine Evron, President of the Chamber of Commerce,
Hi,
39
Christine.
Leroy Street. Hi. I just wanted to thank everybody that worked on the business shopping guide. And I did want to request that you be very clear that it is not an all-inclusive list. Quite often when people look at a list of, say, catering spots, they will think that some of the places have gone out of business when they have not. If you could just add that somewhere, a disclaimer that it is not inclusive, all-inclusive, it would be appreciated.
Thanks, Christine. Yeah, we can most certainly do that. And I know we added something on the front page. Equally, I'd love more people to be in it as well. I know this was a first pass, but we'd love to get more and more folks in it. So please have them reach out to us if that could be helpful. But we'll absolutely ensure that we make that comment. Thank you for that idea.
Well, I think you do have a complete list of the restaurants, and that was a big thing on catering. Many of the restaurants are in the business list that the borough has. It is, of course, not completely up to date, but if that could be addressed, that would be great. Thank
got it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Any other members of the public, Lizette or Omar, that you see looking to speak, asking to speak? Or if anyone can unmute that would like to speak, please do so now.
I'm scrolling through the list and no one has.
No one? Okay. All right, we're going to close the public comment section and move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved.
The second, please.
Second.
Okay, poll the council.
Councilmember Dayton? Councilmember Grossman? Councilmember Grossman?
Except for, I'm looking for the item number because I asked a question last week about an item for a door at $300. No one ever answered me, so I'm just looking for that item. I had it written and I can't find it. It's for the change order to the ADA compliant bathrooms.
Try M.
I think
Resolution 20-455?
Yes.
yes. So yes to everything but that.
Oh, I need to pull something too. I want to remove R2447.
Which one's that? The capital paving?
The approved additional professional engineering services.
Susan, which is that?
Yeah, that's E. That's E.
E.
Okay. All right, we'll pull E. Let's continue with the polling.
Sure.
That's the vote.
Could I ask Susan for an explanation?
Okay, okay, we're in the middle of a vote here, so we can get back to explanations.
No, but she pulled something in the middle of the vote. So I think that we should have an explanation so we can understand.
Susan, why are you pulling it?
I am pulling it because there's an issue with the engineering costs that I have to investigate, and the project isn't going to be done until next year, so it can wait until I do my due diligence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, continue, Lizette or Omar.
Councilmember Minnan?
Yeah, so I agree with Jeff about M, R2455, and yes on all, but
Councilmember Michaels?
We didn't hear you, Adam. You're muted.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Connor?
Yes, except for the M that Jeff wants.
Councilmember Park?
Dan, we can't hear you. Dan?
yes.
Okay, so I currently have a tie for resolution 20-455.
Okay, so in the interest of getting more information, I'm going to vote no on 20-455 and provide the council with more information at the next meeting.
Okay. All items.
Does E get pulled?
Yes.
E got pulled.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes.
good. All right.
Okay. Okay. So.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Well done, Omar. We're going to move to public hearings.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Omar, would you like to read the confirmation of publication of the ordinances and the titles, please?
Sure. Ordinance number 20-21, an ordinance amending an ordinance in Chapter 2, Article 6 of the Revised General Ordinances to delete Section 2-73, Mutual Aid Assistance Agreement for Fire Protection. Ordinance number 20-22, an ordinance amending Chapter 4, General Licensing of the Revised General Ordinances.
Okay, so before I ask for public comment, Susan, is there anything about this food truck ordinance that we need to visit here?
Okay, so
May,
Go ahead.
have specific
Mayor,
questions
it's
about it?
Wendy.
Yeah.
Yes, Wendy.
If I can jump in, I did receive some questions from a council member that I did not answer in advance of the meeting, so I just would like to clarify in case there's other questions that relate to the same. There's a question about the hours of operation at the commercial buildings in their private lots. That those hours of operation only apply to trucks within the private lots of a commercial entity. The hours of operation do not apply in other circumstances.
So Wendy, my question about this whole piece was, in this ordinance, is it understood that a food truck would not be able to go to our town people and say, hey, I want a new permit every few days in our downtown? Because that was one of our initial concerns and the first itineration of
It's
this.
not allowed in the downtown.
But
Okay, one
we're
at
not
a time here.
seeing that in this newer version. So maybe if Wendy, if you could speak to it, because I just wanted to make sure.
So, correct. The place where it is allowed is in a private commercial property, on their property. Any other location has to get approval.
I have a question on that too.
Okay, so, but before we get to the second question, Lauren, you'll be next. I want some clarification because Councilman Michaels and Councilwoman O'Connor have raised this issue of downtown. And so what's the food truck from parking on a commercial property downtown?
If it's a private commercial property, then there is the ability during those hours. The ordinance would allow it if they are otherwise licensed with their annual license.
So they can park downtown based on this ordinance?
If it's a private commercial property and it's not on a public right of way.
So, like, for instance, if the Elks Club decides that they want to let a
The
food
Elks
truck
Club's
in
not a
there,
commercial property.
that's not a commercial property? It's a private property.
So can I make a suggestion here, Wendy? I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but I think I happen to feel, and not taking a position on any of these issues, I think there are questions from the council that need to be addressed, and I'm wondering whether we should be doing the second reading on this tonight until we have an offline discussion to address this.
We've done this multiple times. I do not want to extend this any longer. Absolutely not.
I have a question.
You need to extend this longer because we don't want to vote for something that doesn't solve our issue.
What do we do wrong? We've been talking about this for months now.
Okay, but I can.
Okay,
Let me just answer that, Mark.
one at a time.
What happened, Adam? Okay, what happened, Adam, was we had a draft about the food trucks, but then what happened is it got combined with this peddler thing with the ice cream. So then when it got combined, it's now become a new itineration, and that's where some of the language has now gotten muddled.
I'd like Wendy to explain it better to put everybody at ease. I do not want to extend this another month.
Okay, Lauren, go ahead. Lauren was next.
So, for example, we've had a fantastic food truck in the past 2 weeks. First, it was in borough property, which I'm not sure how. Then it went into a private business parking lot downtown. This is an individual business that let the food truck park there. at what point does that become a private commercial property versus the individual business property that allowed it to 7 p.m.?
So let's back up for a second.
From Wendy.
That's fine, but we don't. Wendy, do we currently have any ordinances that govern food trucks in existence now?
No, we do not. So
hypothetical, but then saying, how would it work under this ordinance?
So under this ordinance, first of all, anything that is not a private commercial property off public right of way, not in a parking spot on the street, not in a fire lane, going to the hardware, actually, I guess I don't even know of the hardware store. I'm sorry, I'm not as familiar with the zoning map as I should be to answer these questions. But if it's not a zoned private commercial property, then you would need to get approval for each location that you're seeking, similar to the special events permitting process.
I think that commercial property is a vague definition because technically this is zoned for commercial. It's a business, it's a private business. So I don't understand where the line is, where you're differentiating like a basic business versus a commercial property versus, I think I need a definition there.
The intent was to respond to the wishes of certain council members that, properties that might be commercial properties that may have their own workers that aren't going to leave the premises to be able to eat, to bring them a truck to be able to order off of. It certainly wasn't the idea of a retail type commercial setting, so I understand that.
I'll give you the gym, for example. The gym patrons absolutely finishing their exercise and then going to get, a burger. And then it also had people from everywhere else showing up to the gym parking lot and eating burgers. So at what point is that a commercial property? And what point is it a private property just allowing the food truck?
So that would be based on your zoning regulations.
So let's say it's zoned commercial.
If it's zoned commercial, then this ordinance as written would allow it.
Till 2:30.
So long as they were on their property.
Till 2:30 only?
Only between 7:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m.
I mean, there was a big dinner crowd here.
Which one are you talking about, Lauren?
I prefer not to use names, but Adam, it's the food truck that's been all week.
The other thing to note is that the parking lot at the Elks Club is borough parking lot.
I'm not talking Elks.
Well, that had been mentioned prior, so I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. That's borough, isn't it?
Correct.
Right.
So the parking lot across from Axia, for example, the parking spots across from Axia, in this new ordinance, could a truck park there? Would we give him, it's not would we give them the permission every few days or no? That could be explicitly denied, right? Or no?
That could be explicitly approved or it could be explicitly denied, but it would require one. It's not automatic.
Up to the council.
But that's not borough property, right?
Wait 1 second.
It is borough property. Well, it's borough parking.
Those parking spots.
Right, we lease it.
In my scenario, I could very much see the owner of this private gym saying, but it's private property, I can do what I want, I can park whoever I want in my parking lot, I own the parking lot. So I think there's some disconnect here.
But if it's private property, we can't do anything about it anyway.
But it's commercially zoned, so therefore Wendy has just put a 7 to 2:30 restriction on it.
But we can't control anything that's private.
That's exactly the point I'm raising, Adam. There's a disconnect here between someone's private parking lot.
There is control because it's still your Board of Health, your fire department, your police department that has to approve the entity for a license.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm going to keep my camera off because my connection seems to fail when I turn it on.
Fine, I can hear you very clear.
I prefer you to see me. So if I could keep going, I'm sorry, just give me one moment, Councilwoman. What I was going to say is right now, you really don't have anything in place beyond the fact that the trucks need to be inspected. if my recommendation is, this may not be the perfect language, but you're up for public hearing and second reading on it. If you want the rest of the language minus perhaps a tweak to 9.8b, I would say put it for a vote, or put it for the public hearing, put it for the vote, see if you pass it, and then it can always be tweaked again. If it gets tweaked right now, it'll get tabled and you'll have to reintroduce and then put it up for second reading.
Oh, okay.
My concern is that 9.8, exactly what I'm talking about, 9.8b is unenforceable against the private property owner's wishes. Guy says, I want to put a food truck in my private property lot. You can't restrict me to make it leave at 2:30. This is my concern.
Well, the problem is that their property is not zoned for a food truck. So you can.
Okay, I want to be very clear that we're, writing it in a way that property owners downtown would understand our intentions and how this works.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we
Yeah.
just so totally to put a pin on this? If right now a food truck, if they want to go to the school parking lot, is it dependent on if our permitting people say yes or no? Nothing's explicitly prohibited, right?
Going to a school parking lot requires the approval of the Board of Education. It's their property. And then if they approve it to be on their property, they still have to go through our permit process because they're operating in town. The thing to understand is this is a food business. So you still have a public health requirement to regulate.
In fact, our health department has to come out and actually inspect something. And I'm just trying to, get to the bottom of, let's say it was something downtown, let's say it is that lot across from the movie theater that's next to the Elks Lodge, and a food truck wanted to come and to operate out of there. You're saying that wouldn't be explicitly prohibited? That would be allowed if it was, we said yes to it?
It is only allowed if you say yes to it. Otherwise, it is prohibited.
And then what if it's allowed once, and then if they come back, they don't have an expectation of getting a yes again? Because I'm just trying to go with the practicality of, we got people who work in the borough office, and I want them to know what they're saying yes to, what they're saying no to.
It's not just administration, it's us.
Wait.
It's the council.
Yeah, but I want to go to practical pieces. The guy comes,
Right.
So,
as a council, we're consistent that we really believe food trucks only belong downtown during special events, right? That's what I think that we all agree to.
I believe that, sure.
So that's what we will approve. That we make it very clear. That's what we'll approve. We do not want food trucks downtown competing with our local businesses. Full stop.
So Wendy, does this do that? It allows us to do that, you're saying, but doesn't prohibit the alternate. Am I right?
Look at it this way. So the licensing provision now provides you for the ability to have food trucks would be annually licensed. It gives you a list of who's been inspected. So it saves your health inspector and your fire department and your police department from having to re-inspect if that person were to come to 6 different festivals during the course of the year. Their inspection, so long as the truck remains the same and no improvements are made on it, no changes are made to it, that inspection still carries for the year. So it gives them a license to operate in town. The thing is, the ordinance requires approval for locations to operate in. So it's a 2-step issue here. You have your $100 registration, so to speak, for the license, but then you can't operate without the approval, absent right now those hours in subparagraph B of 9.8.
Is that $100 each time, or is that $100 for the year?
For the year.
We wanted $100 each time? Like each time they, I don't know, I just feel
that's kind of linked to the costs of having to go through the initial review of it.
Okay, so that's
Each time they come under your permitting process, there's, I believe, a $50 fee.
Okay, that's
There's
different.
separate fees for fire inspection and for health.
So that's the initial time they come, they register, they pay the $100, all their paperwork's done, they get a license to operate in a healthy way here. Then every time,
Then with the location.
got it, that's $50 each time they set out.
I have to double check, but that's what's ringing in my head. I know you have a separate permit application for events.
We need
I'm
one
not
for buildings, one for fire.
Look, I know, Julie, you're feeling like you have some questions, but I think we should get this passed and we can always tweak.
No, no, no. I'm good.
Yeah.
I got, okay. The food truck, I've spent a lot of mental energy on food trucks for a long time. Now, so no, I'm fine. I just wanted to protect our, tax-paying businesses, obviously. It's right now, the way it stands, we don't have a mechanism to enforce anything. And that disturbs me. So I have no problem with passing this, but I also want to say to Adam's point, we must relay because there's nothing in this ordinance that stops a food truck or two or three from operating at the lot that's across from the movie theater. So we must convey to our permitting officers that we do not want to approve that. Also, I do just want to make sure everyone knows it does tax our health inspectors. They're re-inspecting the truck. This is not the way it was designed. And so if Wendy says that this can solve this, if we can relay our messaging, I'm fine with that. I just want to do what's best for the taxpayer businesses.
Julie, just so you know, as soon as we pass an ordinance like this, it goes through the BA and the clerk's office, it gets on the books, and then the internal borough, the administration creates a mechanism to enforce this, to monitor this, everything that we need behind the scenes.
Okay, so then they would understand what this discussion with the will of the council is. Then.
Oh, the mayor's
Okay.
here.
Any other questions
Susan's
from
here,
the,
everyone who needs to be here.
any other questions from the
Okay.
council on this topic, or we're going to move to the public commenting here? Any comments from the public on ordinances 20-21 and 20-22, please, at this time? Lizette, do you see anyone there raising their hand virtually?
No.
No? Okay. Julie, would you like to make a motion, please, on both of these?
I'd like to speak.
Who is that? Yes?
Hello? Yes, Peter Rustin from 295 Woodland Street in Tenafly.
Go ahead, Peter.
First of all, what Councilman Michaels said, I think, is the perfect goal for regulating food trucks. We need to protect the businesses downtown, and I believe, read the ordinance in full, and I don't believe it prevents a food truck on private property from staying there forever. What Councilman Michael said, and I think Councilwoman O'Connor agreed with, was that for special events, food trucks are great. You're opening up a can of worms here, because there's plenty of property which sits inside this ordinance, including the Wells Fargo lot. Somebody over has a gym with a parking lot, and they want to open up a second business. It's a commercial property. They could put a food truck there, and I don't see with this ordinance, if you give them a permit, is there, for example, the food truck that's operating now, and by the way, the hamburgers are wonderful, but is there an end to their use, or can they stay there as long as they want, or till the end of the year, and next year take a permit out that would last 365 days. This is, however you look at it, competition with your tax-paying businesses downtown. And you've got spaces all over the area where food trucks would meet the requirements of this ordinance. And, you'd go travel to other towns and you see food trucks, usually on the streets, and at least you're not allowing that, But if that's the kind of look you want in town, I think you're going to accomplish that goal. But if I heard Councilman Michaels and Councilwoman O'Connor correctly, I don't think that's what you're looking for, and I don't think this ordinance addresses it properly, unfortunately.
Okay, any other comments, Lizette? Thank you, Peter.
There are no
Yes, hello? Can you hear
Hello?
me?
Yeah, go ahead. Who's this?
Okay, this is Christine Evron, 39 Leroy, as a private resident. Although as Chamber of Commerce, I applaud your goal, but all businesses are good with us. Can you clarify how the ice cream truck works? In general, what it does is pulls up in front of, say, the swim club, and it goes far past 2:30, and he pays a fee to the swim club to be there. He's parking on the road, not in the parking lot of the swim club. It's just all not clear to me, just how that would be handled.
Okay, we can handle a conversation, questions about the ice cream truck offline. We want to stay focused on the matter at hand here.
Well, Mayor, it's Wendy. The first part of our ordinance is amending the peddler ordinance that
Right.
the food truck is in. I'm sorry, that the ice cream truck is in. So I think I just wanted to clarify that the ice cream truck is not a license under a mobile food truck. It's actually under an ice cream peddler license. It's a separate license and a separate part of the ordinance. And the only changes being made to that is to distinguish the fact that ice cream trucks under the peddler ordinance are motor vehicles and not other types of vehicles that might be a push cart or whatnot that would otherwise then be prohibited from being licensed under a special event permit.
Okay, thank you for the clarification, Wendy.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Please. Lizette?
Well, no one is raising their
Go ahead.
hands. I mean, in.
No one or someone?
No, I said no one. No one has been raising their hands. They just chime in.
Okay, anybody left? Now's your last time to chime in. Okay. Julie, can you go ahead and make a motion, please?
I move to pass and adopt on second and final reading ordinances 20-21 and 20-22, and that notice of same shall be published according to law.
Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Omar, can you conduct a roll call, please?
Councilmember Dayan?
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman?
Jeff, you're muted.
Yes.
Councilmember Menon?
Yes.
Councilmember Michaels?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Team.
Reports.
I appreciate that it's not, it might not be perfect. Let's see what we do, and I'll continue to work with Wendy on this. But I think we made a good step forward tonight, so thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Committee reports. Banu, would you like to go first, please?
Sure. So the Board of Adjustment met yesterday, and there were no new applications to come before the board at yesterday's meeting. However, at the last meeting on November 2nd, the applicant at the time requested an in-ground pool and the related variance for impervious coverage. And that was denied because the board did not feel the applicant had met the burden set forth by the application. So then this meeting on December 7th, yesterday, a request was made by the applicant prior to the most recent meeting date for the Board of Adjustment to have an opportunity to reopen the hearing and allow him to present revised plans that might help satisfy the board. The basis of this was done prior to passing a resolution. So the resolution didn't pass at the time of the request. But the basis of the request was that the applicant, due to the nature of the medium being used, in that it was a virtual meeting on WebEx, it did not afford the applicant a chance to consult properly with his engineer during the last meeting. So he felt that if he had an opportunity, he might have been able to better present his case. So without providing any guarantee of a change in outcome, the board agreed that they would allow the applicant the opportunity to present any changes at a future meeting, but he would be required to renotice the application, and and this avoids his having to resubmit an application because the prior one was denied. So that was just one wrinkle that it happened yesterday. And even though there wasn't any new applications, on the agenda for the meeting was the board's resolution to adopt emergency remote meeting protocols, procedures, and requirements for public participation at remote meetings, which was passed. And finally, there was a resolution to recognize the service of Lindsey Graham, who was the secretary for the Board of Adjustment for many years and was integral to making the meetings go effectively. There was a recognition that she'll be missed from that role and for her role in the building department. Just from my side, I would agree that she was an excellent secretary for the Board of Adjustment, and I think she will be missed. But Valerie from will be who also does the planning board. Is the planning board secretary, will be filling in for now until somebody is permanently appointed. I don't know if at this point Jeff wants to say anything about Lindsay at all, but I'd like to give an opportunity.
Yeah, no, I appreciate. I for one believe that the borough is losing a major resource. There's probably very little she did not know and understand about the entire construction aspects for our town. People came in with plans. She may not have always been warm and fuzzy, but so incredibly knowledgeable, and that cannot easily be replaced. Someone coming in is going to have to learn an awful lot, some very big shoes to fill. And thank you for that opportunity, Councilman Menon.
You've been in your, you're done. I just wanted to reiterate what Jeff said there about Lindsay. She will be missed. She had an enormous amount of knowledge, and she was always able to answer any question. So we'll miss her. There's no question about it.
So, and thank you, Mayor and Councilman Grossman. Just wanted to say there was also a senior center board meeting, and just a couple of notes from that. The outdoor classes at the park have now been converted to the McCandless room, where there's a maximum of 10 people permitted, and any overflow of people goes to the senior center, which also has the maximum of 10 people. And they also have connectivity through Zoom for those who can't make it but want to participate. So they're working with whatever they can. Anyone joining in the classes in person are required to have masks on, sign waiver forms, and have their temperatures checked. But after that, it's all fun. Michelle from the Senior Center wanted to let the community know that a lot of the people coming or participating in these are seniors who are living alone and have very little other activity that they can participate in. So she'd like to make sure that the seniors are aware that the Senior Center is available to anyone who feels any sense of isolation and would like a community family to join, and to feel free to reach out to the center. There was an update on the Senior Center's intern, a young man, Aaron Song from Tenafly High School, is doing an hour of tech instruction every week. The center is working together with him and started a training session on Tuesdays through Zoom called Tech Tuesdays. and it's intended for seniors to be able to ask him questions on technology, and seniors are welcome to sign up for this. Today was last Tuesday was the first Zoom session. They had another one today, and Michelle is also trying to work with him to be able to schedule time to directly assist seniors with tech issues. The bathrooms at the senior center have been done, the floors have been done, and the air conditioners are in. So all the work that they requested has been completed for the year. The senior center has been working with a food pantry, and it's being distributed out of a location in Dumont. The pantry provides a significant amount of groceries to our senior center for distribution to anyone, seniors or otherwise, who are in need. If there are any residents watching or would like to know who require food and grocery items, they should feel comfortable to reaching out to the center, and they will help you with getting some groceries. Finally, there was discussion about letting membership know that there's a board of trustees. And the board realizes that many of the senior center members don't really know what the board's activities and responsibilities are with respect to the center. So they're trying to determine how they can better relay this. And so my saying, talking about this here is one way. And that's it for those two.
Can I ask
Thank
you
you.
a question on the food pantry?
Go ahead, Lauren.
So if our town wants to make some donations, they should do it to the Dumont Food Pantry. Can you get us that information?
Sure, I can get to that.
'Cause I have to. I've been supporting the Bergenfield one, which I know was very low on resources recently over this pandemic. So if we should also be looking to Dumont, I'd love to advertise that in some way to our residents.
So this is being done through a large organization that sends food out to different areas, in the state, and then one of the locations is Dumont. So Dumont is kind of like a staging area, and people from different senior centers or whatever, different agencies come and pick up from there. And so we're one of them that picks up from there, and then we bring it back to the senior center. And at the senior center, in fact, Mayor Rustin is on the line. He's helped a couple of times to pick up stuff because he has a big truck. So he's been very helpful. Thank you, Peter. And so it comes back to the senior center, and then they have a very automated way of putting things in bags, and the people just come and with their masks on come and go. So it's very efficiently done.
Okay, thank you, Vanu. Lauren, would you like to go next, please?
So the Tenafly Nature Center met, and two very large projects, which everyone should be aware of. Our new owl and hawk aviary is underway. It's being built. If anyone wants to go up and see the progress, it's exciting. Those birds, were endangered, and so now they will have a better suited home for them. And I think that the Nature Center is very excited to protect them and offer new programming come the fall when this is finished. The second thing, obviously, is Fister's Pond. I would like to task everybody in the council to please review the financial forms and the Mazer documents on the engineering, because we do need to make a decision whether we're going to go with the county hydro raking program or we're going to go with our engineering to consider this project. And so to have a better informed conversation, the Nature Center has been trying very hard to, support this and push us moving forward, and we seem to be stalling very badly on it. So I would like all of us on council to do our homework, and for the next meeting, whenever we can meet in the new year, we need to make some decisions on this, or else it will not get done in 2021. So that's the Nature Center. And the Northern Valley Greenway is actually meeting tonight. They are splitting off into two separate committees. One of them is called the Friends of the Northern Valley Greenway. They're looking for more volunteers for those who want to help get the word out, help fundraise small projects, help get community support for the project. And then there'll be the the initial Rotary funded and municipal Northern Valley Greenway Club, and that'll be where our liaisons sit, and some other additional members. So that is something for everyone to consider if you want to support the Northern Valley Greenway.
Lauren, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Splitting up, are the representatives from all the 6 towns all having their liaisons going to the same group? Or is
Yes.
that also, they are, okay.
So it's not everybody. It's part of the liaisons, not all of them. And so some of those liaisons will become the Friends of Committee, and then some will stay on the initial steering committee with the municipal liaisons.
Okay.
So it's going basically by task, like who has expertise in different areas.
I see.
And so as we move forward, what we're looking for is different types of liaisons to join the initial steering committee. And we'll get into that for your appointments for 2021 offline.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
The police commission is going to meet next week. We need to decide on the overtime ordinance, not to be discussed right now, but everyone please review that. And they are still waiting on a date for our flag. I know the PBA needs to get that ordered to have enough time. That we had tentatively discussed a date in January, and if that's the case, we need to give them an answer. So if everyone can please let Susan know or Lizette know what you're thinking on the date for the flag, that would be much appreciated to move this process along. And then finally, the welcoming committee is going to be adding a new sign on East Clinton as you enter Tenafly from 9W. And we're very excited about this. A lot of people don't know the welcoming committee exists for new residents that move here. So this will say, welcome to Tenafly. It's supposed to be friendly. It's in black and orange for Tenafly colors. So please check it out when it gets put up in a couple weeks. And that's everything.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Julie?
Environmental Committee. So there will be a new chair for the Environmental Commission because John Worms is stepping aside from that role. So I hope you all join me in thanking former Councilman Worms for his years of service as the chair of the Environmental Committee.
But Julie, just put out there that he's still staying on the Environmental Commission.
Yes, he is. He said he is. We are definitely not getting rid of him. He just won't be the chair. But yeah, he's really such an asset. So what was discussed was the styrofoam, a possible styrofoam disposal program, possibly coordinated with other towns. It's something that the TEC is exploring. They might put it in the budget that they put forth that they need to, but it's just an interesting idea because, of course, as everyone listening knows, styrofoam is very, very hard to dispose of.
Julie,
so, yeah.
Englewood has that huge program that they do the styrofoam pickup.
Exactly. We have a member who is looking at what other towns do. And because it's such a large undertaking, it might be something where many towns can do it together. So this other idea that we're pretty excited about is a monthly blog writing. This might be possibly once every 2 months. I mentioned it to the mayor in communications. It's going to be something that they produce. The first topic, these will be environmentally friendly topics for the residents. I think I mentioned this before. The first topic we're hoping to have is the environmentally friendly disposal of Christmas trees. Because there's a process you can do to make it greener. Possible alternatives to traditional grass on lawns we've talked about, which might help with Lauren when we discuss noise situations with leaf blowers. Also, just something that came up in the meeting. And just by the way, for those blogs, we know that when the new website comes out, that we're hoping those will be there, very user friendly, but obviously they'll be on the website that we have currently in time for Christmas. Just something to know that Bergen County ranks 4th in all counties in the US for water supply that is contaminated with this thing called PFAS, of these forever chemicals that are carcinogen. So we want to also educate people about that topic and things they can do. Just that was a scary thing to hear. Uh, the DPW director came on the meeting. He hopes to have the new truck for recycling in February, he said, and the members of the commission were very happy with the DPW's leaf collection. Just something that got mentioned. They're very happy with the recycling that happened around Thanksgiving, which I know the mayor and council had put forth. Then the charging stations for electric vehicles, that's something that we're planning for. They're also very excited for that. If I'm just going to move over to the health committee report. So there was a recommendation against, now that marijuana legalization has been moving forward in New Jersey, there was a recommendation against shops like that in Tenafly. They said they viewed it as bad for the children, disturbing the community, but they, also want to see what other towns are doing. They also said that the flu vaccine clinic that we ran was a little low on numbers as compared to years past, but they think that's because we had so many places where people can actually get the flu vaccine now. And the report of people getting vaccinated by flu for flu is really quite high this year, which is good. And this meeting already happened a few weeks ago, so I apologize if some of it's stale, but some of it still applies. Unfortunately, there is an uptick in COVID cases with our Sam Yanovich, our county guy. There's an uptick in COVID cases. The schools, indoor sports, hockey travel teams particularly were a county issue. Those were cited. Bar seating, of course, is a big problem. They said that nurses cannot keep up with contact tracing. People are hesitant to answer questions to contact tracers. Basically, our documents are in when a vaccine comes. For vaccine planning that's regional or local, we don't know if it's going to be done regionally. We don't know if it's going to be done locally. Our documents are in. So in case it's done on a local basis, we will still have to see what the plan will be. The storage of the new Pfizer vaccine will be a problem because of the temperature. So there's a need for dry ice. They're looking at vendors for that. Governor Murphy wants 70% of the residents in New Jersey vaccinated within 6 months. This, again, was the plan a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if that's increased. And flu season is still very low, probably because of social distancing. We have a lot of flu vaccine left. They did just want to say that a lot of our problems come because there's a lack of funding for public health over the years. And that's a problem that we see come to fruition at different points. Just one last note. There is a Board of Health meeting in September. I was told by Lisette maybe to put this in the committee report. There's a conflict of our Board of Health meeting at the same date as a council meeting. So I'm just putting forth here, would it be possible to change the council meeting to September 9th instead of September 2nd? And then that would be actually our only date in September. I don't know if any of you have the schedule for the upcoming year, but
Julie, usually you change your committee meeting, not the
Right.
council
no,
meeting.
I understand that, but they've already changed other things, and there's a concern that they might not reach quorum. They only have 5 meetings a year, so I'm just throwing it out. I didn't know if anyone had another conflict, but September 9th seems open, but I just wanted to throw that out to council.
Perhaps, Julie, why don't we have an offline conversation about that detail and see where we go with it and come back to the council to discuss
Okay, I'll
it,
forward
right?
an email. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks. That's it.
Dan, please.
No committee reports.
Okay. Adam?
Super quick, just a couple things. So, rec committee, the rec department's doing a lot of stuff after a very successful Halloween trunk or treat. They're doing a very COVID safe go visit Santa in a huge bubble. So for COVID protection, I'm trying to convince the mayor to be Santa this year. We'll see how it goes.
That's going to be a hard sell.
Yeah. So really good stuff there. The number of sports, I saw something just come up today with, there are a couple openings for the walking club, trying to create a number of different opportunities for people to have mental and physical well-being while staying safe in COVID. Downtown committee, actually a good time with the rec committee. Spoke at the last council meeting. Thank you to Jamie Corsair and the downtown committee. We're looking into bringing an ice skating rink to town, which again would get to that physical and mental well-being. Thank you to Councilman Park. We took a field trip yesterday to go visit the Bergen County ice skating rink. Really impressive, and the whole team there was incredibly helpful. Gave us a lot of great things to think about, and offered their assistance, which was wonderful. To the mayor's recommendation, actually, I spoke with Jamie Cannon in the rec department. Obviously, they have a lot of experience in this and would make things seamless if that's an option we want to take. But really excited about the ice skating rink. We've already raised over $10,000 privately. Thank you to Jamie and team. So we're fully on our way there to cover any of the capital expenses. Downtown lighting. Thank you to Mike Cassidy and the DPW team. We had a meeting last week to look at some of the twinkly lights. Hopefully those are coming into place sometime soon.
Wait, Adam, I have some questions on the ice rink. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I assume that the money's being raised by Tenafly Cares, not downtown committee, right?
Yeah, just privately raised.
Right. So, well, I just want to make sure, because typically our committees don't fundraise. So I just want to make sure when we represent it to anyone who's donating, that we say it's through the outside organization.
Sure.
Just be careful on that one.
Yep, absolutely.
And then do we have a checks and balance for it? So like if our COVID numbers keep going up, do we have any advice on running it, not running it, as our numbers keep climbing, of course?
Yep, another good question.
While you're putting all this effort in, I would hate, for it.
Yep. So great question. It's actually the number one response, issue that we have. So the first thing is Bergen County, again, the way they're doing it, they went from something like 500 people could go. They're literally down to 25. So we actually watched the session. Think of Madison Square Garden, and there's 25 people on the ice. So like you're certainly hitting your 6.1 feet between each other by a country mile. So that's a great point on that. And then the other thing that we were thinking of, I think when we originally brought it to the council, we were thinking about renting it. The idea now, and again, the team's been great. The idea is possibly to purchase it outright. So if we get it in, I'm just making this up, January 15th, and we decide we don't want to, it's not safe for our residents, no big deal. We can put it up the next month versus renting it and then not using it. But we'll come back to the council at the next meeting with all the particulars. I know Councilman Grossman had a good question around location, which I think we've locked down. So we'll come to the next council meeting with all of the I's dotted and T's crossed per se.
And to just add on there, Adam, to Lauren's point, just like the fall festival or any other sports programs that we plan, if we have to cancel it, the unfortunate part is we will, if health issues necessitate it.
Yep. And then the last thing, and thank you to Christine Evron, the holiday gift guide, and thank you to the mayor for bringing up the update that is now on the Tenafly website. So please take a look at that and continue to support your local businesses.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
Vito,
no.
sorry.
Whenever you're done, that's
Oh,
okay.
okay. And then that's it. And we have a chamber meeting, I believe, tomorrow. So we'll give an update at the next meeting there. That's all I got.
Thanks, Adam. Vanu, you had a question for Adam?
Yeah, for Adam, or maybe just a note to say that I don't think we've specifically agreed to the ice skating rink, and I just want to, I think Councilman Dayton mentioned this, but I understand that there's this impetus to keep going forward and pushing and pushing and pushing, but without us agreeing to do it or where. I don't want there to be this feeling that it's a fait accompli.
Yeah, no, I want to make it absolutely clear, Councilman Menon, absolutely. So we spoke last time. There were actually two issues around the funding and the location, which we're taking back. I will, and I'm happy to carry this burden. I will continue to push this council forward to bring services and help our residents. I know that there will forever be pushback, but I have to continue to do for our residents, and then we'll just go from there. But I know your point of view, absolutely.
Councilman Michaels, I absolutely appreciate what you do. I think people should appreciate what I do and the services that I want to bring forth.
Absolutely.
And, we shouldn't be under any illusions of what each other is representing in this town. Having said that, I just want to make sure that it's not a push for a fait accompli as opposed to a coming to the council for a request. That's all I'm asking.
It's great. Absolutely.
I don't need cheeky remarks or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Jeff, would you like to go next, please?
Sure. Although I do have to say, Councilman Michaels, now that you said picture an MSG type of arena, now I'm picturing where are we really going to put Madison Square Garden and Tenafly. But that aside, I have a couple of reports, and I will not engage any other comment on any of this. First of all, 3 reports. Stigma-free met last night. I regret I had a conflict and I did not get to attend that, but I do know that they are going forward with their plan to provide a little hand sanitizers with clip-ons, similar to what TVAC had done a couple of months ago, and that those will be provided to students in the schools with information about contacts or where to text for help with stigma-free. And to that point, I think it really is important that we recognize that the longer that this pandemic goes on, the tougher it is for people who are having problems coping normally with day-to-day life. And so we need to be vigilant in helping anybody we know who is in any sort of crisis. And I have to tell you, seeing what's happened in our town with the number of domestic violence cases have gone up, seeing what's happening in the school where I teach, where I can't really go into detail, but I know that it has had a horrible impact on a couple of my students, horrible, catastrophic impact. And so we all need to be aware that as we struggle, there are people who are probably struggling more. Let them know it's okay to feel that way and that we're all there to help them. But for professional help, because I remember I kind of chided Councilwoman Dayton about call me any time of night when she said that a few weeks ago to the public. There are a lot of professionals out there. There are helplines. Please encourage people to call, or if you're feeling any distress, call, text. I can get you information that I will provide you. I will not help anyone. I'm not a professional, but if anybody does send me an email, I will be more than happy to send them in the right direction. That's first report. Second report, the Historic Preservation Commission met. The Roosevelt Monument, I circulated to the council, and I really should make sure that gets circulated to the public. A recent report on the Roosevelt Monument done by the expert who's been helping the town at under contract to help maintain the monument. The report is horrific. It shows that there's been a lot of damage. And we're not talking just environmental damage. We're talking about people damaging this monument that's coming up on 100th anniversary. And I know we take these things for granted that there's a monument in town and oh well. The fact is, this is the first monument ever made to Teddy Roosevelt as a environmentalist. It was done by the McKay family, for whom not only is McKay School named, but who donated all of that land where the middle school is, the Board of Ed, I think even partly over to some of the high school land. It's an enormous thing that they contributed, and the monument is one aspect of it. We are going forward. There is a matching grant, so we are going to be working on the monument, on lighting the monument, on restoration. But once it's restored, it should be a centerpiece of our town. It should not be something that people are throwing things at. Our expert actually believes that somebody was using a BB gun to shoot at the back of the monument, where there are animals in relief, beautiful elk and other animals, bear, and kind of using that for target practice. So if you do have any knowledge of anyone doing that, defacing that monument, tell them stop. I can't put it any other way. The other things that the HBC were looking at, there's a gate. There was a citizen who did send a letter. The gate that's the entrance off of Engle Street to Innis, and it's really into the Cotswold area. That gate is in disrepair. It will not be cheap if it is to be fixed. The metal on it alone, probably 70 to 80,000 based on an estimate a few years ago. And then that does not include the work on the stone pillars. And so I think there's going to be a struggle in this pandemic time. Is this a cost that is reasonably taken? Of course, it would not be quick. I mean, this would take years. We'll probably be 2 years past the pandemic by the time this gets off the ground, if it ever does. But I would be interested in knowing the thoughts of people and the public, and how there will, I'm sure at some point, be a meeting at the HPC, and I'd encourage people to come and weigh in on what they think of this. All right,
Jeff?
Lauren.
Before I go on to the next, yes.
I know that Paul Stefanowicz, when he was on council, had brought this issue up and had looked into it. Do we have those estimates in that company?
Yes.
Okay.
It was about, I want to say $72,000 several years ago, and that's just the metalwork. That does not include the 2 stone pillars, which would be totally separate. It's a gate. There is some historic value to it, no question. But we have to think, whenever there was discussion about having matching funds raised from the public. And part of my feeling, at least while we're in the pandemic, is every dollar that goes into a gate, every dollar, even to Councilman Michaels, every dollar that goes into a skating rink, are dollars that people are now not tending to donate to food banks where we have super long lines, longer than I can even imagine. So I would like to remind the public to think about even donations to this kind of a gate project. This may not be the time. That's all. That's
question for
the
Jeff.
HPC report. Third.
Wait, Dan, one more question. You got another question from council member. Dan?
Sorry.
I don't remember what year this was, but I remember talking to someone about that gate, and they were trying to get it on the national list of some sort, so to qualify for more grants. Did that ever happen?
No, I do not believe, based on the correspondence I saw, that did not happen. It doesn't mean it can.
Someone's typing. Sorry to interrupt you, Jeff. Someone's typing. Can you go on mute, please? Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
That is a great question, Councilman Park. But again, you know as well as I do, grants are generally matching. And if we're talking a few years ago, 72, it's probably 80,000 for the metalwork, and we're talking another 20, 30,000 probably for the masonry. So even at matching grants, we're talking big numbers here.
Right,
Very
but
big
then
numbers.
Julie,
I'm not
if
saying
we wanted to
I'm
use,
not saying I'm taking a position on it. I'm just saying we need to be cognizant of the size, the magnitude of these numbers.
right, and then if it was designated historic, on whatever list it was, it would qualify for matching grants. So it would lessen it by quite a bit.
You are absolutely correct, and I will bring that back. I believe the HPC would be happy to pursue that.
I just wanted to reiterate for the public, because Councilman Grossman, your point about where people donate to, it's well taken, and I understand times are difficult, but just so you can repeat, the money for the Roosevelt monument, that has already been designated, right?
Yes, in fact, the Roosevelt Monument money is a matching grant, to Councilman Park's point that historic sites get matching grants, and the match for it came from our open space funds, not from capital or operating, if I'm correct. All right, my third and final report is the planning board met, and for the first time, I'm very happy to report that after months and months, the Bottle King application has continued to go forward. There were some procedural issues, and the planning board as a group believed that those procedural issues were not fatal to the application. And following that decision, there were a couple of witnesses, including a traffic engineer, the engineer for the project came back, and testimony is going. The application is not finished, but I do have to believe that it is getting to the final stages and that they should be wrapping up the application within the next meeting or so. So this actually will be something that the planning board will get to decide. Have no idea. Excited to see how the discussion goes. So that's it. My report.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Next item on the old business, purchasing assistant for finance department. Susan, you want to talk about this?
Yes, I'm going to defer it to when we talk about the borough administrator, so that because we didn't have an opportunity to do so.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
So we can move on.
So Wendy, we're going to add that to the second closed session.
I think Susan's referring to the fact that there was discussion about what the scope of the new administrator may or may not include, and that was part of the discussion last week.
Okay, so we're adding, okay, got it. Hold on. Okay, add to close. Okay, new business, Dan, do you want to do these, please?
It's opening. I move to introduce and pass on first reading ordinances 20-23, 20-24, and 20-25, and set the hearing for December 21st, 2020 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter virtually via WebEx.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Poll the council, please.
Okay, I have to read it into the record.
Sorry, read into the record.
Sure. Ordinance number 20-23, an ordinance authorizing a special emergency appropriation to provide an anticipated deficit in operations relating to revenue loss for the current fiscal year due to COVID-19 by the Borough of Tenafly. Ordinance number 20-24, an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of block 715, lot 14, commonly known as 1 Serpentine Road in the Borough of Tenafly. And ordinance number 20-25, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a lease amendment agreement between the Borough of Tenafly and the Tennakill Swim Club as to 151 Grove Street.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify that the ordinance number 2025, that was posted indicated it was a 2-year lease, and what the council will actually be voting on would be a 5-year lease.
Okay. All right, Lizette or Omar, can you poll the council, please?
Sure. Councilwoman Dayton?
Yes to ordinances 20-23 and 20-24. No to ordinance 20-25 because I do not agree to the 5-year term.
Okay. Councilmember Grossman?
Yes as to ordinance 2023 and ordinance 2024, because I am a member of the Tennakill Swim Club and a bondholder. I will abstain on ordinance number 20-25 as I have for all discussion.
Councilman Menon?
Yes on all three.
Councilmember Michaels?
Yes on all three.
Councilmember O'Connor?
Yes on all three.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, everyone. For mayor's remarks, I'll keep them brief. Bergen County had another, the mayor's call with the governor's office today, 2 of his key staff people. And to follow up on what Councilwoman O'Connor was talking about, a couple of takeaways from the call. One's a little disappointing in that 70% of people that are contacted for contact tracing are refusing to cooperate. That's a statewide number, not broken down by county. So I'm encouraging, if the public's listening, when you get the contact tracing calls from the health officials, please cooperate. It's essential in helping to spread the virus. On some good news, vaccines have already started arriving in New Jersey, waiting for the latest FDA approval. The priority, you've probably seen it in the news also, but officially it looks like the priority, of course, will be healthcare workers first, and it starts to get a little gray after that. But lots of more details to come in the coming days. A question was raised about whether there'll be regional distribution of the vaccine or locally. They're kind of leaning towards regional right now, with even Giant Stadium being tossed about as a potential centralized location where a lot of individuals from our area would go for their vaccine. And last but not least, to pick up where Councilman Menon was commenting, I'm again going to repeat ourselves here and acknowledge Lindsey Graham for 20 plus years of service to the borough. So thank you to Ms. Graham, and she was an excellent employee. Those are my mayor's comments for tonight. And we're going, go ahead. Someone have a question for me? No? We're going to have a closed session. So could I get a motion to go into closed session? And then, Lizette, you'll email us the link.
She already did.
Okay,
I have the
second.
resolution, Mayor.
Oh, go ahead, please. You're right. I forgot that part. Go ahead, please.
Resolution R20-483, at a regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Tenafly, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, held on December 8th, 2020, be it resolved in compliance with NJSA 10:4-12, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Tenafly are going into closed session to discuss the following matters. Under personnel, there's the Borough Administrator position, and under attorney-client privilege, the DPW Administrative Building. Minutes will be taken of the meeting and released to the public at the time the matter is resolved. Formal action may or may not be taken.
Have a motion to go into close, please.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. See everyone shortly. Thank you to the members of the public who were here tonight.
Here I dreamt I was a soldier, and I marched the streets of Bergen. and I recall.